If you missed the last segment, me and I talked about whether or not the 80-hour work week is realistic for people in residency who are then transitioning into attendinghood. If you missed that segment, go back and take a listen. And right now we are going to be talking about motherhood and locums. Dr. Nee, what say you? What's going on?
All right, Dr. Renee. So we got a question from Instagram. This is a question from someone who's been following our podcast for a significant period of time. So let's jump right into this. It says, hey, do both you and your wife do locums? Because I'm considering a travel position / locum, but I'm having mom guilt and I'm not sure how other women do it. I've read articles and I know there's plenty of moms who do it, but just wondering if you have any feedback. Would appreciate hearing about your experience. I know I've heard a lot from your perspective, but wondering about it from mom's perspective, how she may do it. I think they're referring to you. Mm-hmm. So we got this question while we're in Ghana. I told them we were going to answer it, but we ain't recording Ghana. So,
so we ain't answer it.
You like to hear it? Here it go. Boom. So you go ahead and answer. Do we do locums? How do you do locums as a mom? And do you have mommy guilt?
No, I do not have mommy guilt. So I've been doing locums for quite some time, exclusively locums, as of the time, that was 2016. So I was pregnant at the time when we started doing locums exclusively. And I mean, I guess I would need a little bit more information so that I could give you a little more advice tailored to whatever your situation is. For me, I am a mom, but I'm also married. So there is that dynamic, which I think makes a difference. So doing locums, I'm able to stay home for the most part. And then I work 1 weekend a month. That's just how I decide to do it. You can do it however you want. And then my husband, he works more days than I do in the month. But that's the way that we do it. We switch off. So if I'm working, he's not working. If he's working, then I'm not working. And that's the way it's worked. And I really love it. It allows me to spend a lot of time with my kids. Yes, I am traveling, so it is not a local locums assignment. I've been traveling since 2016 and haven't stopped since. And it's been really helpful.
What's the farthest that you've traveled?
The farthest I've traveled is probably about 3 hours, 4 hours. To do anyone
right now.
Now it's like an hour and a half. Yeah, now it's like an hour and a half. So it's not bad. But I stay over.
So what does that mean? Explain that to the people.
So that basically means that I start my shift on Friday evenings at 5:00 and I finish my shift on Monday mornings at 7:30. So I am not home. So I might as well be a plane right away, right? Because I'm not home, right? So
husband, you got a hotel, you got all that stuff. Gotcha.
You and your work husband, X, Y, and Z. I told you, don't make me pull up on you. Okay. Don't make me pull up on you. I know you got a work wife.
Yeah, my work wife got hands. Just know. So you gonna pull up. Go ahead.
Anywho, niece. Don't worry, because my work husband got mad muscle. Look at your face. Look at your face now. You don't like that joke, right? It's not as funny. It's not, what is it? Ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun. Anywho, but you can do it however.
That's peace.
You can do it however you want. I think what I like about the locums life the most is that there is that flexibility, right? I think I actually have. So I will say this. I never worked a 9 to 5 or what we call a full-time
how about this
job. Hold on. I got to say this.
Okay. I got to say this. I got something to say.
I've never worked a full-time job while I was a mother, right? But I do have to say that I think that the amount of guilt, mommy guilt, that I would have had as a full-time OB would have been much, much greater than what I'm doing now as a locums. Because her question is about mommy guilt.
Hold on a second. Let me speak up. Yeah. So the mommy guilt that you have, you said that you would have more mommy guilt if you were working full time and not a locum,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. Why? Explain that. What kind of things would you
Because
be thinking about? Let me get it out. What kind of things would you have? Would you be processing in your mind during that time?
because if I'm full-time OB, right? When I was full-time OB, if I'm looking at that schedule, right? If I had been a mom at that time, there would have been a point where I would have been awake before my kids even got up in the morning and back home after my kids fell asleep.
Hmm.
And I don't like that because for me, I might as well be away because I'm not seeing them anyway. Right. I just
And it,
know that they are there and in the same house with me at some point in time, a few hours a day. But I don't like the idea of, consistently waking up before my kids, not seeing them off to school, and then coming home and potentially them being asleep already. I don't
I
like
think
that.
the one thing to consider also is like I didn't have any plans of slowing down at all at that point also. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a strong likelihood that you have that happening twice, where you have kids who
Mm-hmm.
are very like the likelihood of them seeing both of their parents in the morning or seeing them in the evening time, it's going to be varied, right?
Mm-hmm.
The consistency probably won't be there and stuff. So there was a high chance also that we may have to incorporate someone in, like a babysitter or nanny. What are your
Mm-hmm.
thoughts on that?
So for me, I just felt like I didn't want a nanny. There's nothing wrong with having a nanny, but I didn't want a nanny in that, not for that, right? If I was going to have somebody help me with my kids, that's fine, but I would want someone who is just kind of there, literally helping me, right? Not someone being me,
What do
right?
you mean
That I
helping?
think
Be clarify what you
helping.
mean.
So, for example, right, there was a point at which we did have a babysitter, right? We
Mhm.
had a babysitter. She would come to the house, even though I was home. She was helping me, right? Because I had two kids, one of which I was homeschooling, and the other one who needed just extra attention because he had speech delay and all of this stuff. So she was actually helping me. So I was able to put my attention towards the homeschooling for those hours that I was homeschooling, but I was never so far removed that I wasn't able to give the other one the attention that he needed as well. So she was able to help me kind of reel him in and just, make sure that he's not necessarily interfering with the homeschooling with the other one, and keeping him entertained, making sure that he's getting his, all of the things that he needed from therapy. Like that was helping me. That wasn't being me, right? Like she wasn't being the mom, she was being the helper. And so that for me was important to have that. I didn't want to have my kids woken up by someone else, carted around, taken to school, carted around to the extracurricular activities by someone else. And then me at the end of the day go, well, how was your day? What'd you do all day? And not have been a part of that. I just didn't want that as my life, you know?
Mm,
So
okay.
for me, I think I would have had more mommy guilt if our life looked that way than what it looks like right now, which is, listen, I'm gone for a weekend. You'll be fine because most days out of the month, I'm actually home. So I don't have
Or
any guilt over that.
hot dogs and beans when you gone.
Whatever. It's okay.
They
They
get
can
their
eat
calories.
a weekend of junk food is not gonna kill
Uh-huh.
nobody.
As long as they don't
So
end up in the hospital, they are good.
they are good. As long as they don't have appendicitis and end up in Kumasi.
What are you talking? Come on now.
That's
Come on now.
that's the appendicitis combination.
Was it beans and what?
I don't know, but Kumasi is definitely in there. So, but yeah,
All right.
that I
So
think
okay. So back to her question. Back to her
yes.
question. So I know a little bit about her experiences, and now
Hmm.
the kids, I think at this point now are like they're in that 5 range, 6 range, 7
Hmm.
year old range and stuff. Like how long can you say mommy guilt and all that stuff? How long can you use all that stuff? Like, is there
Well,
like, I mean, this is not. I'm being devil's advocate and I'm playing a little bit. But after a while, isn't there like, come on now, listen, like you gotta get back to work, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, isn't there thoughts about that?
you want
Right?
to make that money. He's like,
Yo, man, get
listen,
back to work, yo. Come on, yo.
listen, you
How long
just
you
want
gonna
to
do this,
put, you
mom
want to
thing?
put this ox out. You want to put this ox out so she could plow. That's what
Does it
you
get
want.
worse? Does it get better as they get older? You know, like because the kids are older now,
The kids are older now.
relatively
Yes.
now. But do you
Yes.
like, let's say, for example, would you consider taking on more hours?
So with my kids being 6 and 8, potentially, yeah. Right. Like now that they're 6 and 8, they're in school full time. Right. That's a little bit of a different story. But even then, I would want to make sure that my schedule isn't so overburdened with work that I'm not missing so much. Like today, for example, I volunteered for their picture day, right? To kind of help, keep the kids preoccupied
And that
after
pictures
their
better look
pictures were
good.
taken,
That pictures
right?
better look good.
Let me tell you something. Listen, that class picture, he was sitting there
Pictures
like
better
this.
look on point. The
He was going
pictures
like
better
this.
look on point. So,
I'm like, come on, boy, stop. He's like this. This is how his class picture looks. His individual picture looks good, but his class picture, he looks like this. So, you got to see it on YouTube to see what I'm doing if y'all are listening. But so yeah, I'm able to volunteer for that. Tomorrow I'm going to be volunteering for our other son's picture day. So I want to be able to do things like that. I need that flexibility. And if I'm going to take a job, I want a job that's going to give me that flexibility that, hey, listen, from 9:25 to 9:40, I got to go to my son's school and volunteer because he's going to be looking crazy in these pictures if I don't.
what do
You
you think
know?
about folks who like women who, like, for example, like when you are in like a practice, right? Like
Okay.
where you're in a practice and because there's pressure, right? Let's say you're in a practice with other men, whatever specialty it may be, and you're just getting out of residency or you're just getting out of training, or maybe you're practicing for a while and then all of a sudden you get pregnant and then you have to deliver. And during those, that time, the maternity leave, usually what, 12 weeks? Like everybody's changing their schedule and all these different things. Everybody
Yeah.
says, yeah, we got you and so forth. And it's the law, right? Like they got to give you that time and so forth. Did you talk about that pressure to come back early sometimes to make sure that you feel like, hey, you don't want to lose your skills, or maybe you don't want people talking behind your back, or is that a real thing still? What are your thoughts on that?
I cannot speak on that because that was not my experience. I really
What
can't.
was your experience?
I quit right before I found out I was pregnant.
Yeah.
And I never went back, right? I never went back to being employed. I can't really speak to that. But I'm going to say that yes, there are a lot of women who feel that pressure, right, to perform because they have a goal in mind, right? They also have the pressure of feeling like they want to be collegial, they want to be professional. And so work doesn't always give you that grace of being a mother while you're also trying to reach that, that professional goal. And so I would imagine that, yeah, there's a lot of pressure where, you take time off, people are taking on your patients because when you leave behind patients, right? And those patients don't just disappear. Those patients continue to have problems and need to be seen. They might need to be operated on. Their treatments might need to be, advanced. So, there's a lot of pressure, I think, on those women in particular when they get pregnant to be like, oh, maybe I should go back to work because everybody else is filling in for me and I'm not holding my weight. So I can't really speak to that because I didn't have that experience. So I can't just be like, oh, just forget everybody, just focus on yourself and whatever, right? It would be really, yeah, it would be irresponsible
Because
of me to say that.
you work in
So
an ecosystem. You work in an ecosystem, so to speak.
yeah,
And the ecosystem has ebbs and flows. So that's a tough one.
yeah, it's tough. And
So
then you have the pressure of, speaking of 12 weeks, 12 weeks is 3 months.
That's not
Think about it. It's not long. Like a 3-month-old.
It didn't click to me until we had a 12-month-old or a 12-week-old.
12-week-old.
And I remember I asked you, I was like, wait, so we supposed to just hand this baby over to somebody?
Yes, I remember you. And I was like, yep, go take him to the daycare and see what happened.
12 weeks.
Exactly. 12 weeks. A 12-week-old baby. That's a 3-month-old baby. Like, that's nothing. Right? So then now you feel like, wait a minute, I'm supposed to go back to work. So now you feel like your life that you want, that you're building at home, this family that you're building at home is literally in direct competition with your, with your professional aspirations. And that should never be, right? That should never be. They should be working in tandem. That should never be.
That's a perfect world. That's a perfect world.
Right. That's a perfect world. Or that's locums.
And I think, well, no, to some extent, but I think the thing that we have to realize and let people know that there's sacrifice.
At least for me, it is.
There's sacrifice to everything.
Of course.
Right. I'm speaking from the male perspective, but also at the same time, I watch what you're doing. And I think just a true unbiased view is there's sacrifices, right? Like things that you have to just say, you can't have everything, right? You can't have the perfect practice. You can't make all the amount of money. And then you can't also expect to be there for your kids, right? Like this stuff is work, right? Like if you want to be there for your kids, then there's going to have to be times when you have to say no to your job. If there are things that you want to do career-wise, then there's times when you have to say no to your family. Like there's just times where you just have to make it work in some form or fashion.
Right.
Realize that you don't have to be perfect. But I definitely sometimes look at it, I'm like, man, like if you were working, full time, like we're leaving a lot of money on the table. But that's not where we don't value that right now.
That's not where exactly.
Right now we value, 1, our relationship, 2, making sure that the kids grow up in a very healthy relationship, and 3, that they have the opportunities to do things that we never had. But the bill's going to come when we get into our 60s and 70s because they're going to be taking care of us. Remember that 529s I've been, right? Those 529s that we were funding.
Anywho.
Preschool and all that. Like, yo, you going to have to pay us back for that. For real.
Okay, Nee, be quiet.
That's how I look at it. It's the truth.
Whatever, Nee. Now you potting.
I'm not potting. I'm just saying.
Yes, you are. Now you potting.
The bill's coming.
Yeah, you're going to bill our children.
So my dad's going to pay for college, and then they may pay for even grad school. It's like, okay. Sure. Then 70 comes, 75 comes. Dad can't change his underwear anymore. Where you coming? Come help me out. You remember that? Remember those Jordans we got you?
Anyway, Nee, I'm through with you. I am through with you. I'm done with you right now. I'm so done. Anywho.
No, but seriously, to the listener, to the writer who wrote this question, this is a really good question. And thank you, Renee, for answering that with your candor, because I think, one thing that I want folks to really understand is that it's going to look different to everybody. Mom guilt, dad guilt. Dad guilt is a thing, guys.
Yeah.
Ladies, dad guilt is a thing. It's not as prominent. We don't talk about it as much. There's not as much space to talk about that. But there are times when I'm gone and I'm thinking about it, like, man, like I'm missing out taking them to, at least I want to be able to put them to bed every day, or at least be able to take them to school, right? There's got to be one thing. But when I'm gone for like a week. So I can't do any of those things, right? I want to be able to help them with their homework and so forth. And there's times where I'm like, man, all of this stuff accumulates, and is it accumulating into a bad thing, or is it, going to end up being really for the cause, so to speak, like the sacrifices that I'm making and stuff. But, you don't have all the answers. You do the best that you can. And I think we kind of just go from there. But we do appreciate your answer, or excuse me, your question on this. Renee, I appreciate your answer. This is a really good one. I think we should actually leave it here. There's something that I wanted to speak about. Yeah, there was things I wanted to talk about with doctors, and the whole notion that we've seen on social media about doctors wanting to keep people sick, which makes no sense. Let's answer on another podcast.
Yeah.
Another podcast. But anybody who wants to know where I think about it very quickly, it's just like, you guys really think doctors have way more power than we really do, right? It's like that scene from Malcolm X where, the police officer is like, no man should have all that power. It's like,
that's too much power for one man to have.
You really think doctors have that much power to keep people sick like we don't do that. But anyway, we'll talk about that in another episode. But we do appreciate you guys listening. We do appreciate you guys writing in. We got a lot of questions that people have written in that we got to answer. And I also appreciate everybody for being patient with us. Like, for real, like we talked about in the beginning, once we get to next year, 2026, it'll be close to 10 years that we've been consistently doing this show. This show is for you guys. This show is about two doctors who are kind of who have figured out how to take care of their debt, who have figured out how to handle relationships, kids, as well as business and entrepreneurship, right? Like you've seen us, if you've been listening from 2016, you've seen us grow into so many different directions and stuff. So just needed a break, and there are times when we just needed to rest and I just didn't feel like talking. And this was what happened this past month. So I appreciate y'all for listening again to this show. We really appreciate all of you all. I appreciate the whole team, from Alfred all the way to the rest of the team, Audrey, as well as Kiara, and then the help, Renee,
The help.
the help, Dr. Renee.
They wrote a movie about it.
Anyway. All right, guys, we're going to catch you guys on the next episode of Docs Outside the Box. Talk to you guys later.
Deuces.